Hi guys. Yeah, I could move the little rag out of the way, but I like it. So, this is my Me Too 2 video. Because the ladies are still going on about how they've been mercilessly just hung out on clotheslines and treated like objects by men who just, parade the fact around like, well, I don't know what, but it's terrible, very terrible. And so I thought that I need to share some of my Me Too stories. I want to show you how you see I've had this strategy in my, dating life that I was going to treat everyone I met with respect and dignity, and I didn't want to do anything else. I didn't want to in any way, force myself or abuse anyone's dignity and even have the appearance of it in any way, shape, or form. And since, as you may or may not have noticed, I do have some force as a personality, and I also seem to be never know what's going to come out of my mouth. I try even harder to do that. So I'm going to share two real life stories, two like front page, live on TV, primetime stories about, as Tupac would say, about about like two different experiences I had with ladies and how being chivalrous, how that worked. So the first one was this girl I knew from Germany. Actually, no, we were in Berlin. She was from Germany, and I was at Barcelona. And she was studying at the Barcelona. She happened to be taking the same class as I was, and that's how we met. She was a painter, actually not bad, and she traveled all around the world, and so after we hung out for like a semester, and then one day she calls me when I'm back home in LA after university and says, "Hey, I'm traveling the States. Why don't you give me a place to stay for a week?" And so I said, "Yeah," and so that's what she did. And during that time, we had all sorts of adventures and misadventures and little arguments and little heart-to-hearts, but we had never actually gotten it on before. So anyway, she started talking about how she wanted to have some weed, so I got her some. And so anyway, we're sitting, in my bedroom, and like, we're smoking, and we've had a couple hits together, and then she starts going, "Wow, boy, this is just." This is just so strong. I mean, whoa, oh my God, I just feel so out of it. I mean, oh man. I was like, I don't know, like, it's like time is all different, and I can feel my thoughts forming before they're formed, and I can feel my thoughts growing before my words, and then my words, they come like points, and they come out, and she just started like really doing it, and I'm looking at her, and I don't know what to say, because you get the sense that she really would, wants you to, like, I don't know, there's something about it, but at the same time, she seems so loopy that it'd be like, am I doing a date rape thing here or something? Because, like, she's really attractive, and she's obviously, like, open, I guess, but that doesn't seem right. I mean, I don't want to just, like, the first time we get together, it was because she was all zonked out on something or something, I mean, that doesn't even seem cool, so I just sort of like smiled along and said, "It is fascinating, isn't it?" And I played it the whole way straight like that, and then she went to, she went to bed, and I went back, and then the next day, when she's all okay in front of 5 other people, though not overtly, she says to me, "David, was there something wrong with me last night?" And I'm like, what? And it actually hits you for the first time that she actually wanted me to, make a move, and I was thought, but that would have been date rape, right? So I said, oh, well, I have so inconceivable to me, I'm not kidding you about this, that I was even played it even straighter and said, don't worry, the first time I really got stoned, I was sort of out of it too, this funny thing happened to me and that funny thing happened to me, and the more I started talking about how okay it was, the more horrified she kept seeming, until it just seemed like she just all but says, "You don't find me attractive, do you?" And I'm like, what? And so now it's like, okay, so let me get this straight. So for not boinking you're in a drugged haze all night long, I'm not attracted to you. So anyway, she went back to Germany, and we never spoke again. So yeah, I mean, me too, man. It's just me too. Okay. let's go into our next story. Oh, this one's this one's this one is classic. I don't care where you stand on the line. This one is classic, okay? I met a singer. Well, no, I was introduced by a singer by some other neurotic, psychotic wannabe artist in Hollywood. There are quite a few of us. We could probably power a small, vehicle if you put us all together, like in some sort of fusion unit, and they're all crammed together, and we actually power like interstellar travel or something. It'd be really trip. Anyway, don't try to understand. It's crazy. So anyway, I meet this girl, and she's like, she styles herself as a singer, okay? And she's attractive. I mean, she's not, cover of Vanity Fair or, smile and make them, die in Hollywood kind of. But she had an earthy, like a very warm look, earth, she was seemed like sort of bohemian kind of, very sweet. A little upturned nose, and it was just, God. So anyway, we meet up with her and her friends to talk about doing some pictures for her album covers. And, we have a little back and forth. Then I go back and I think, oh, she's so cute. She was CC, boy. Boy, it sure be cool if she gave me oral sex. I could just imagine it right now, man. I bet she'd like it, too. She looked like she might be an oral person. Yeah, and I just kept imagining it so hard and wishing she would call that the next day she did. I was like, damn, what are the chances? I was so traumatized by this afterwards, I never did that again, actually. So anyway, then it's like she calls me, and it's like, okay, and she says, hey, let's actually discuss a shoot. So we got together, and she had all these ideas that she wanted to actually have one final, official shoot, and but she couldn't figure out which of all the places I suggested that she'd actually want to do it at, because she'd never seen any of them. So I suggested, well, we could do a test shoot. And this was a very innocent suggestion at the time. We could do like a test shoot at a couple places, see what she thought. And so somehow that turned into the fact that while she was going to pay me for the final shoot, she wasn't paying me anything because we hadn't done the final shoot because we were test shooting. So we did these 3 test shoots for free. Yeah, business and artists don't go together well, especially not when you fantasize about, your clients giving you oral sex, but I won't go into that. So anyway, then it was like, okay, we can do that. So then we went to this place and we took great pictures. And by the way, then we would go to another place. And now this wasn't just like, let's drive by and snap a few shots and go to McDonald's or something, okay? This was like, let's drive 3 hours out of our way, go with a person I never met before, to hike up, a vertically sheer cliff while carrying 40 pounds of camera equipment, to come to the secluded, sacred, secret spot where there's a tiny waterfall at the base of this huge vertical cliff, and take pictures of you semi-nude there. That was a test shoot that we did. And, and I'm not complaining. It was great. But, most people wouldn't have done that without, at least, some green in there somewhere, probably. Imagine. But anyway, I thought she was so cool, and it was great shots, and I'd never seen the place, so I was, yeah. And so then we went to another place, and we did all sorts of shots there, and I take her into my, the garage where I'm set up, and where there are people living on both sides of me. And as I go in there, I say, now listen, be quiet, okay, because I'm going to have people all around me here, and I'm just trying to, I'm trying to be circumspect. That was back in the good days. And, and so anyway, we go in there, and I start showing her the pictures on my computer, and she looks all around and says, is this where people listen? And I said, she starts going, oh, David, these pictures are so good! And she just went on like that, like she was having an orgasm or something over every image, and everyone's like, people are peeping around, people are looking around, and I'm just like, this is so, it's so, and so I was like, okay. And so anyway, so then she would come back every so often when she called my little, I don't know, what was it, my Arab nomadic, whatever, tent or something, because there were like blankets on the walls at that time. And, and we would just smoke and hang out, and she would eat food, and she would just come whenever she wanted, and and we go back and forth, and then and she was living from her parents, and all this stuff, and everything was great, I guess. And then I suddenly stopped hearing from her. It was just, that was it, just I send her a text, hey, you remember her? Nothing, 3 weeks. Not a word. 3, 4, just like whatever. It was like she didn't exist anymore. you know. Then one day I get a text from her that says, "I'm coming over." I was like, "Huh?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, why?" I was like, "I thought you were dead or overdosed or something." I don't know. I didn't know. I was tried to check in with her. I only had her number. I was like, okay. So he said, "Oh, okay, that's great." So then we meet at some place, and she says, "Okay, so." But then she, it was just really interesting, which is, and this is not exactly all chronological. Basically, she tells me, like, in tears, okay, basically in tears, that, I really need to get something going with my life. And I gotta tell you, these photos that we've been taking over the last month or so, they're basically what's been doing it for me. I mean, I've been showing people these pictures. Now there's talk of me having a nightclub gig. Now they're trying to actually arrange something. Now they're trying to get an album out for me. And nothing's really changed but for these pictures. And that's really important to me. So I want to pay you $150 for everything you've done. I said, "What?" She said, "Well, no, I want to pay you $150 for everything you've done. I mean, I think that's fair, and just give us the originals, and I'm going to go make a few album covers out of them and see if I can get this started. And it's all thanks to you, David." I said, "Well, I think we were talking like 300 or 400. Well, we'll still do a final shoot. I definitely want to do more shoots, and once we'll go through all these test shoots, we'll figure out which ones people like the most, and then we'll go there and we'll do an official shoot, and I'll pay you more then. It might not be for a year or so, but right now I just want to give you, you can just give me everything, and it should be cool." And I said, "Well, it doesn't really work that way, you see. I mean, I'm not going to give you the negative originals of, the digital negatives of, like, my work, because I don't really give up control of my work that way, because in my experience, when I give my work to inexperienced designers, they tend to mess it up, and then they blame the photographer when people comment on it." And she says, "Oh, no, it's not having someone who doesn't, an amateur, do this. My mom's going to do it." Okay, well, I'm afraid that's not enough. I mean, I would, you can pay me $150, you can do X or Y, for this, but I'm not giving you negatives. You can just use what you have, which are have a watermark, and they're circumspect, and it's not going to really interfere if you do it. Oh, no. And I said, but where have you been for the last 3 weeks? There's this long pause. She says, "Well, someone stole my car." I said, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Why didn't you to let me know or say something?" "Well, you see, I didn't have a car, David. I mean, I do vaguely remember she might have said something was up, and I said, 'Oh, can I help?' But we were sort of far apart or something. I don't know, but in distance. But it wasn't really clear to me that she felt that it was this dire a situation. She said, I didn't have a car." I said, "Oh, that's, I've been driving in my mom's SUV." I said, oh, okay, all right. But anyway, I didn't have a car, and so this guy that I sort of know as an acquaintance, he heard that I didn't have a car, and he offered to let me use his car. So that's great. And he says, as long as I let him move in with me. And this is when I just like, and she was, no, she was really attractive, and we were really attractive to each other. And I know I was attracted to her because I did all sorts of shit I would never ever be caught dead doing otherwise. I drove with her for like 2 hours to go to some place that, amusement park that had tickets, and then when we got there, it turned out to be twice as expensive as she was willing to pay, and twice as much as I was willing to pay, and so we just ended up screwing that, and so we just drove around in circles for hours. It was great. And so, it was always full. Like, one time she said, "Let's go over here," and so we went into a smoke shop. And, she was all giggly, and she even, like, putting her arms around me and everything. And she goes up and she picks up these little weirdo things, I don't know, they had at the counter. And she starts putting them in her bra and rubbing them on her tits. And she looked like she didn't even know she was doing that. So now, not only am I staring at her, she's, like, taking these weird things and, like, with this, like, I don't know, she's doing some sort of, maybe she's, like, some sort of body painting. I don't know what she was thinking, but it was very evocative. So we're just staring, me and this, like, 50-year-old guy at the smoke shop, we're just staring. And she's like, oh, and then, like, it's clear she has no clue, okay, and then that's when, like, the smoke shop guy, he turns around and he puts his hand and with his on my shoulder, just shakes his head like. And so anyway, and then, like, it was just always like that, like, we go to some bar, no, we went to a restaurant to eat something. and she choked on the wine, and she ended up coughing and trying to make it look cool somehow for like about 5 minutes until almost there was some guy, I thought he was gonna have a nervous breakdown in there. And then the waitress comes over, she says, "Is everything? We're just like trying to get reassurance and everything." And the waitress says, "Oh no, everything's fine. Everything. Oh, you're sure everything's fine? You're sure everything? Yeah, everything's fine." I was like, "Oh God." And I was just like, "Yeah, it's fun because she's so cute." So anyway, so now we're back here, and she's just, but you see, we never did anything, okay? Never did anything. I mean, it was like, she would go around and do, like, practically disrobe in front of you, but we never did anything, okay? I mean, so anyway, now, like, we're all the way back here, and she's just told me that because she didn't have a car, she let someone move in with her, and it was pretty assumed that it wasn't just moving in with her, I just don't know what to tell you. I'm just standing there and going like, I'm thinking about how I'm living in a garage because I refuted everything society believes in because it seems patently wrong to me, and it isn't allowing me to be who I am, and I'm trying to contribute, but there's no way apparently. And she just at the first drop of a hat, she threw herself into some guy's nuts because she wanted a car, all right? And I'm just like, damn, And then she's, "Well, what did you want me to do? I mean, I didn't have a car." And anyway, it was a disaster. I mean, he was with me for 3 weeks. And then finally, I just had to throw him out because it was just awful. I said, "Oh." And you want to know what the worst part is of what I can't figure out? No. What? My car reappeared one day after he left, right where it was supposed to be. I'm like, shit. Alright, So after that, I never wanted to see her again. And, and then she's like, "But David, even though I'm never going to have sex again now, I still want to be friends with you. I mean, people say I'm really nurturing and caring." And it was just like, "I'm sorry," and so that was it. I never spoke to her again. Me too.